Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Austrian Legacy Masters Top 8. We are now heading into the semifinals. This was actually a pretty quick round of the quarterfinals, and we just got to see Kevin unfortunately losing with the blue-red Delva or like tempo deck, and he lost against the Bant Nadu deck. And yeah, I'm now again joined with Peter here, and we will see the semifinals now. And yeah, Peter, is the pairing that we have at hand?
The pairing that we have is Tamas Kukushka on his Tron mud crazy deck that actually performed really, really well over the whole weekend. And on the other hand, we have blue black Delva Tempo from Maya Alexander, who actually performed well all over the weekend,
Yeah,
but with different decks.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see how the first semifinals will conclude.
exactly. Yeah, especially Alexander Meyer, pretty amazing showing the whole weekend. He was top four also yesterday, and he's now also top four. So this is very interesting to see. So yeah, as you mentioned, blue black tempo, and the players I think are about to get ready for this one. We can maybe give it a go.
Yeah.
And yeah, Tron, I think pretty much unchanged from what Tamas played also the last 2 days. And Tempo deck.
Yeah.
What is the feeling here?
It's really really interesting because like on the one hand the Tron Mud crazy deck
Hmm?
plays Leyland Helm, for example,
Yeah, in the main deck, yeah.
in the main deck,
Mm.
and Leyland is a card that's actually quite good against blue black and blue black tempo, but in this game we don't have to worry about it, at least now.
Mm.
Um, and we also have seen here a key aspect of the matchup
Mm.
with Wasteland already on the second turn, Tami going for card advantage, and now we want to see Tamas Kukushka going for a few lands, hopefully get them through the Wastelands and land one of the bigger cards in his deck.
So yeah, crucial, I guess. We see the wasteland that helped to develop or stumble a little bit. Let's say this the mana development, and yeah, what is the kind of the sequencing that Tamash is looking to have against blue black, for example?
One card that would be really, really good here would be actually the Ursus Tower, for example.
Mm.
With Ursus Tower and the Planar Nexus, he has 4 mana, including the Manifold Key. He has access to 6 mana, which allows him to play the One Ring, for example, through days or even double days in this spot.
Yeah, and notably, of course, the key in this because it would require a Grim Monolith.
Yeah.
It cannot untap lands.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but it, as you say, yeah, in if we case, for example, Green Monolith, then we would definitely see a mana explosion here. Yeah. And Tamash here sees an Ursa Saga. That is, of course, not super well for mana development. And yeah, let's see. Maybe he doesn't have an Ursa's land at this point.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't have the Ursus Tower or even one of the smaller Ursus lands. One thing that he also can look in the near future would be a Candelabra, which would be nice when he gets access to additional Ursus land. But now he has the
Ah, yeah.
Ursus Tower. He has his Ursus Saga on 2, so we are likely to see him develop some tokens this turn, or he has a bigger card like the previously mentioned the One Ring, or maybe even a Trinisphere that he wants to drop on this turn.
Amazing, yeah. This deck can really generate so much mana in such a short time frame. Even if if it goes for next turn Candelabra, this is already quite some mana that he has access to with the Ursa Saga. You now ends the Bowmaster,
Yeah.
just as another threat from Alexander. And besides that, there's not too much going on from Alexander's side.
Yeah, it's just that he wants to develop at least some threat. But on the other hand, we have now Tamas Kukushka casting his Kozilek's command to try
Mhm.
to exile Vitamio
Yep,
and get him maybe a mana or a token.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
would suggest a mana because then you would be able to Utsu Saga. because with the token you
Yeah.
have 2 mana to make the token
You mean like to generate the construct token? Yeah, I see that.
as well as
Yeah. So yeah, in that sense, now the Kozilek's command, however, gets forced. And following now onto Alexander's next turn, he casts a Ponder and wastelands the Planar Nexus, which shuts off the Ursus Tower.
Yeah, and with that, you've basically slashed 2 lands in one go, because you now have only 1 mana. You can't make a token with the Urza Saga,
Yep.
so you are just tapping it, add 1 mana, and I think we just get a Candelabra now, because the second Manifold Key doesn't seem that great, and Candelabra would be another form of action here to empower his mana base.
Unfortunately, he cannot really utilize it as of now because no lands really make more than more mana at this point. But maybe he plans for that in the following turn. But yes, let's see what Tamas finds with this Ursa Saga. Main deck wise, there's not so much. It's actually just the Candelabra and the Manifold Key he can get. Yeah. Manifold Key, I think, is pretty insane in this kind of deck.
Yeah, Manifold Key has like 2 modes that you can use. On the one hand, it's very, very good at making additional mana, and it's good for card advantage with the One Ring. On the other hand, it can make your big constructs unblockable.
Secret mode, kind of, right?
Yeah. It's actually the reason that how was the previous key, Galvanic Key? There was
question,
there was another key that was like the prominent card in Vintage, because it was utilized to filter mana and do every other stuff.
Voltaic Key, I think.
Voltaic Key, yeah. But this one is Shadowbanned in Vintage now because of Manifold Key.
Yeah, this has just another effect added to it.
Yeah.
We now, I guess, see, yeah, Planar Nexus replacement. I think that's the third copy already from Tamas that enables again the Ursus Tower, and he can now utilize the Candelabra to generate some mana, and we'll see what he can actually cast.
And here we go. Maybe even for an Ugin here.
If he has the mana. Ugin certainly is one of the crazy new strong cards that specifically in this deck was.
Yeah.
I'm impressed, it got wastelanded, I think, twice even.
Yeah.
And still, I think it's turn forced, and he still can develop just casually an Ugin. I mean, it's crazy, yeah.
Yeah, you just can't catch a word. Am I right? It's really astonishing what it does. And here we really saw what Candelabra does. It's a card that you can get with Urza Saga, empowers your Tron land drops. And yeah, now with Manifold Key, you go up to 5 mana now. You play the One Ring, and yeah, game 1 is over.
Pretty fast and easy, yeah. Let's see. This means that this Tamash is now 1 game ahead.
Yeah.
Against Blue Black Tempo. I mean, Ugin is just too much to cope for, I would say. That's pretty much. And now looking at the sideboard, of course, Alexander he didn't really have too much of pressure. He didn't really have a Nethergorth that grew quite fast. He just had a Tameo, and he used it for 1 or 2 tokens, clue tokens, I think, and the Bombmaster, of course, on its own is not super strong to close out the game fast. So with that being said, what do you think Alexander wants to change here from his deck to go into the game 2?
I mean, we for sure have 2 non-brainers to include, which are the 2 consigned to memory. Actually, 2 cards I would consider in the spot is Children's Edict, to have access to disrupt their planeswalkers. I mean, they have resolved them at the point, but they can't really protect them.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, there's like 4 copies of Karn and 3 copies of Ugin. I mean, there are some targets.
Yeah. And Engineered Explosives can actually be quite good on the first few turns to maybe cash in on like a key and the candelabra or some grim monoliths and really put a hold onto the development from Alexander. And force of negation, crucial to stopping the key cards from resolving.
Yeah, exactly. So given the fact that Alexander is not a reanimator deck, but just a regular tempo deck, do you think that Tamashi is opting to keep his Leyline Helm package going into the second game?
Yeah, for sure. Because Leyline is really good at keeping graveyard-reliant threats in check. And Nethergoy, for example, which would be the premier way to take down the life of Tamash, is completely stopped by a Leyline. Nethergoy will just forever be a 0-1. Tamio, notably, doesn't have any power, so Tamio already isn't that great of a card in the matchup. Orcish Bowmasters doesn't get like influenced by the Leyline, but Murktide Region, one of the cards that you want to drop early on the side of my Alexander, is a card that you really drop much later on in the game when a Leyline is in play.
Yeah, yeah. So what else would you then say is something that Tamashi would bring in for this kind of matchup? We have like the, do you look at the dismembers maybe? We have Disruptor Flutes.
Disruptor Flute and Force of Will would be something that you may look into, or maybe on a Kaito, because if a Kaito resolves, you can't really do anything against it if you don't have any Devon rings. So maybe you want the Disruptor Flutes to be put in, and Piffing Needle against Wasteland seems like a really good card to
I just want to revisit a little bit Alexander said, because I just spotted one card.
Harbinger of the Seas.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I think this is what we should also mention, right?
Yeah.
Harbinger against, I guess it's a blowout, almost.
Yeah, it's okay actually.
It's not okay. Yeah.
I've talked with Paul Bernsteiner, who actually went top 8 again, also yesterday. And yeah, there was a Blood Moon out there, and he still lost against the deck because with 3, with 4, with 5 mana, it's just enough. And especially with a Leyline out, you don't have the pressure that you can put on your opponent.
Exactly.
So I think
it's okay and nothing spectacular. Yeah, and as was pointed out in the chat, the new ruling of Saga, of course, definitely a consideration. It's a lot worse now than it was before. Yeah,
definitely. But I have to ask, what is Eldrazi Confluence?
Eldrazi Confluence, we saw that a lot in the last couple of days as well. It's a 4-mana instant of the new Commander Precon, and one of the latest Commander Precons, and it has 3 modes. You can choose multiple modes, more than one, same as like the red Confluence.
Yeah, with Fiery Confluence.
Yeah, it has one mode is the Spatial Contortion mode, plus 3, -3. Then you can exile a non-permanent and return it. You can flick it, tapped, and you can create a 1/1 Eldrazi Scion. So the old version of the Eldrazi Scions. It's pretty versatile and has been pretty impressive actually.
Yeah.
So now, game 2, and Alexander should be now on the play.
Yeah, and I think I've seen multiple Wastelands in the starting hand.
Okay, really. Wasteland is for sure something that was actually pretty good had. I think such a up until turn 3 or so, it had a little bit of a potential, right? It was a good. It stopped the big mana development for, let's say, 2 turns.
Yeah.
But then it was just still ongoing. Yeah.
The pressure was on the one side not there, and Tamash drew a lot of the enablers in the form of Planar Nexus. But yeah.
What's interesting, maybe just to add on that, Alexander did not keep a hand with any colored mana source.
This was the thing that I was looking at, because it's the same thing against every combo deck. If you keep a hand with permission against it, but with no clock, the other deck will just draw counter permission.
Interesting decision, I have to say, from Alexander's side. Maybe it just wants to see, okay, if I'm gonna win this, I need to draw and be lucky.
Yeah.
We see a pithing needle.
Yeah, and now the wasteland is halted, but you still name wasteland.
I guess so, yeah.
It starts with a W, yeah.
Wasteland makes sense to be named here, and yeah, just you have the top deck. Just getting one land from the top of the library exactly as it needed.
But
And
it still attacks for 1.
it's okay, but still, I mean, think a lot of players would have mulliganed this hand.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, of
And I
course,
think it would be reasonable to do.
reasonable to do for sure.
You don't have access to days or any other thing.
Another, in this case, Ursa's Tower and a Manifold Key. Another land off the top from Alexander, another colored source. And it deploys the second Nethergraph. This is exactly as I think he wants the game to go. He has 1 days and also 1 Wasteland still in the hand. He can now potentially use it against the Ursa Saga. Yeah.
He can't because of the Pithing Needle.
Yeah, true.
An interesting thing that he would be maybe able to do is like if he has another creature or another spell that he would be allowed to play, he could then daze his spell to get an additional card type into the graveyard.
Yeah. He now opts to consign the Ursa Saga trigger.
Yeah.
Why do you think is that?
He just wants to keep blockers off the table because like with another land in here, the constructs would already be 3/3s, which would be enough to put a complete hold onto the pressure from my Alexander. But maybe we get here in the One Ring or something like that.
Oh yeah, this would be a blowout, I think, because there's a daze in the hand of Alexander, right?
But you have enough mana with the Manifold Key.
He uses the Manifold Key to generate up to 5 or 6 mana, yeah.
5 mana. And then we play 3 tokens, exile a card, or make 3 scions, dig 3.
Yep. Kozilek's commands on the battlefield. On the stack. Access 3.
Access 3, so scry 3, gain 3 tokens, maybe? Or access 3 cards from the graveyard?
Yeah, scry 3, yeah. Yeah, Pyro Alexander, I think, has a pretty impressive board. If he gets to, yeah, maybe I would. What I think is the Nethergoyfs grow, and then I would assume this is maybe not over. Of course not yet, because there's so much mana from Tamar's side. Maybe he finds one Ugin again that we saw from last game.
Yeah, the thing is, he really needed the token or something like that, because like on next turn he would have gone for the token, Shadow Spear, and then the game is pretty much locked up until there are some remove spells. Because like for example, Fatal Push is a key card in the corner spot if there are construct tokens, but it's generally like a really bad card in the matchup. Or to phrase it better, it's just a weird card in the matchup because it's so good against one plan and so bad against the other.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. So we see another Kozilek's command here. In that case, he targets the Orcish Bowmaster. Promptly, Alexandra, however, decides to daze that, which is a good spot and good thing to do if you can. And Nethergraph is still a 2-way.
Yeah.
So it attacks for, in that case, 7 damage in total.
Yeah. Down to 8.
Should be down to 8. Not quite lethal next turn. Yet. What do you think is now Tamar's, let's say, wishful top deck?
That's a hard one. Because like on the one hand, Like an Eldrazi Confluence doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah, you can kill maybe both Nethergoyfs, right? For
Yep.
example.
You can kill both Nethergoyfs
And the token, something
and
like
the
that.
token, for example.
Would be actually insane, right?
And the One Ring in the near future wouldn't be that bad. Maybe even does he play a bridge? Yeah.
In the sideboard usually, I think. That.
But he doesn't have the mana to go Karn into bridge. I mean, if you top deck a Tron land, he should be good to go. So yeah, maybe.
It does become a bridge. There's a playset in the main deck actually from this card as well. So it's not unlikely that he has that.
Yeah, and Kant, the great creator, always gives you some stuff that you really, really want.
Yes, I think with the Candelabra doesn't add too much. Well, actually doesn't do anything, but he has Metalcraft.
Yeah.
So this taps for free.
Yep.
Candelabra adds another 2.
1.
And he can untap the Grim Monolith and add even more mana. So he has a pretty big amount of mana again.
3.
So I'm assuming 1 floating
2.
now.
2 floating.
Well, he used the key also. So
from the Saga mana.
From the Saga mana, okay. So 2 floating, yeah. So up to 5, 6, 7 to 10 mana available in total. And Ugin.
But what are all the modes from Ugin? It's usually just wins the game.
It usually wins the game. It has 7 loyalty, first of all. And every time, well, on cast, you get to exile 1 color permanent. And whenever you cast a colorless spell, you can also do that.
So it basically reads exile Orcish Bowmasters, gain 3 life, draw a card.
Yeah, exactly. Because the +2 says you gain 3 life and draw a card, exactly, yeah.
And then it has 9 loyalty. And if this one is not exactly Force of Negation, we are shifting the meter between the two players a little bit more in the middle, maybe even a tight on the side.
Consign to memory would be, I think, the best answer, because the trigger counts also the trigger from Ugin. And no, it stays. It exiles the Orcish Bowmasters.
Then we go to 9.
Yeah.
Gain 3 life, draw a card. I have 3 mana left.
Yeah, he still has 3 mana left. That's the crazy part. Just cast an Ugin and still has 3 mana.
Just as if we were playing Tron.
Yeah. But it's crazy how explosive it can be. Even in the face of 1 or 2 Wastelands.
I actually want to play the deck, because there are just no reserved list cards. Am I right?
Well, 3 Grand Monolith.
4 Grand Monolith. Yeah.
1 Candelabra. Yeah.
Everything can be proxied at our LGS. And
that is for sure, yeah. This is also, by the way, a proxy-friendly tournament overall for all 3 events that we had. So people can play our proxies and use them if they don't have the cards. So that's quite nice.
Yeah.
However, I think this is actually a real Candelabra here on the battlefield from Tomas.
It seems so.
Yeah, I think it's a real one.
But yeah, he goes to the face.
It's tough now, I think. Alexander, he attacks him down to 5, but, well, I guess he sees the writing on the wall when Tamas taps it on Ugin and all that mana that he has, right?
What are the downticks on Ugin?
There is one, -11 is basically win the game. Search your library for any number of colorless non-land cards, exile them, then shuffle. Until end of turn, you may cast those cards without paying the mana costs. So you can basically cast any card you want.
Okay. Yeah, and it means basically exile everything from your opponent.
Yeah. The +2 is support, and it gains life.
Yeah.
And helps to dig deeper and generate more advantage. And basically, this Ugin cannot be killed with combat damage, basically.
Yeah.
It's like right now we already have 11 loyalty.
Yeah. To specify, it's Ugin Eye of the Storms.
Exactly. It's one of the new bit from the Dragonstorm set, Takia Dragonstorm. 7 mana, pretty insane, I would say. 7 loyalty when it enters, and has also the cast trigger in attached that makes it also quite potent against Force of Will.
Yeah.
What do we see here? Tamas is already piling up his mana again in the mana pool.
And we have the card exile the first Nethergoyf. If it resolves, we get how's it called? A Mycosynth Flatless, most likely. And before the Mycosynth Flatless resolves, we exile the Nethergoyf. And
yeah, that's the funny thing. He can get the Lattice if he wants to, which and again triggers the Ugin, and also killing the Goyf. And this would even save the Ugin from being attacked. The Karn from being attacked.
Yeah, but the thing with Lattice is afterwards he wouldn't be able to exile anything from the board from Alexander anymore.
Because it's colorless.
Yeah, exactly.
True. That's actually a good point. But it's a cast trigger, so
yeah.
For this one it works. Okay, this means that Tamash is now in the finals. This Tron deck is insane. I gotta tell you, it is really good.
What do you think is like a bad matchup?
Well, I would assume like like a tempo deck like this, right? Wasteland, days, and so on, just not letting your opponent develop. But we see like in the first game, got Wasteland and twice, still cast Ugin on turn 4 or something like that.
Yeah. So,
just don't care.
Yeah, I think Blue Red Delver.
Yeah, it's maybe faster.
It doesn't care about the leyline. If it happens.
All that much, yeah. It's okay.
And yeah, it's insane. The deck is like the perfect deck for the metagame.
I would assume. The thing is, it also has for copies of Trinisphere in the main deck, because usually combo decks, I would assume, are rougher for this Tron deck as well. Something like Doomsday. I'm not sure about Reanimator, but he opted to go for these main deck leylines.
Yeah.
Just to combat exactly that. And besides that, yeah, maybe Doomsday is hard to beat, maybe.
Yeah.
But other than that, it looks pretty solid, I have to say. Yeah. All that Ursa lands.
Yeah, it's also surprising how much removal the deck actually plays between Eldrazi Confluence and Kozilek's Command. I always thought like, in colorless you only have the possibility for Dismember.
Yeah.
But actually you're playing 8 main deck removal spells, and in a meta that's heavily dominated by Bowmasters, and you have Eldrazi Confluence that can pick up like multiple bodies.
And we actually have also another backup match for you ready in a couple of moments. We have the match from Thomas
Flitschek against Florian.
I think it's Peter Florian. Yeah, we also saw both in the stream today already. We actually saw that in the quarterfinal as well. Peter Florian is on Bant Nadu.
Yeah.
Pretty solid deck as well. He plays against Thomas on
Esper control.
Yeah, it's more like a mid-range. So Esper mid-range deck. But exactly, yeah. And we get to see
just as Esper. He's on other.
So yeah, we have that ready soon. Maybe just to talk a little bit before we get this matchup ready. We have now the top 4 being played. We have one finalist, and this is the second top 4 match. What is the prices that we basically can play here for today? Maybe Peter can go a little bit through that shortly.
Yeah. Just to talk about the prices that were won in the first few rounds is like 9th to 12th from the Swiss rounds got an Ursa Saga, and 5th to 8th place got an Ancient Tomb from Tempest. 3rd and 4th player, so the player that loses this round, wins a Mox Opal. And for the finals, we got some really big hitter prizes. First place is a Mox Diamond, an European Legacy Masters invite, and a beautifully altered Japanese days from Kai Savatari. For second place, we have a revised Savannah. So really nice prizes for the top 2, top 3, top 4, or even the whole top 12 to be played out in this tournament.
Very nice, I have to say, and this is very cool to see that, yeah, high stakes in that case. Big legacy tournaments are always nice to see, and this is gonna be an exciting one that we see here as the second quarterfinals.
Yeah, so the players are getting ready, shuffling up the cards while we adjust the stream, and yeah, we'll talk about the match in like a few seconds.
Exactly. So now what we know is that it is currently first game was won by Thomas.
Okay.
So he is ahead with Esper deck. We can maybe quickly have a look, and they're shuffling up for the second game. Esper, we saw a lot of blue-black tempo as well, but Thomas actually chose a third color to pick, also including his deck. Why do you think is that? What is the cards that we have at hand here?
Yeah, the white cards that he added to his blue-black deck are Prismatic Ending, Swords to Plowshares, and even a copy of Teferi Time Reveler. Those cards are insane against blue-black. If you can find the time to make a stable mana base, which we've seen today was quite difficult for some of our other Esper players. So those cards are quite good also in this matchup to clear like Sky the Cat Cup. I will pronounce it like that. It's Sky the Cat. So Sky Cat Cup that you have access to remove it so that you can stop it from triggering. This Bant Nadu deck, on the other hand, isn't the classical Nadu deck that will win on the one turn, but it has a lot of other modes like with Sky the Cat Cup.
Sky the Cat.
Sky the Cat Cup. And because it plays it plays over multiple turns if you don't have the Nomads on core.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting matchup, and let's see who will be the winner for this one. Peter is on the play and starts with the Misty Rainforest.
I was so confused when you said Peter is on the play because I'm definitely not playing. I'm here just talking.
Yeah.
No, we are not sponsored by Nestle. But,
but shout out to them. Maybe we should be.
No.
No.
But we are also not sponsored by Red Bull because we only have the SPG version.
We have all budget, yeah. Okay, Misty Rainforest for the tropical island. Capital Flowers, yeah.
That's actually a huge one. But maybe Thomas can play off of non-island mana for the first few turns to completely negate the advantage.
Let's see, yeah. What is Scrubland actually is a nice land to have here on this spot. And yeah, what should it take? Yeah, it takes
the Green Sun Zenith. Does stop getting like a Delighted Halfling on the next turn, or Sky the Cat Cup on a future turn, or even a Nadu. It's like exactly the creature that Peter wants like a turn later because of Green Sun Zenith. On the other hand, he has 2 cantrips that he wants to actually do on the next turn. So if he draws another Thoughtseize in the near future, he has access to a better information about hands.
Okay, yeah. So now Peter doesn't have the access to the extra mana for this turn, and he's thinking about what to play next. We see a Ponder.
And we see here actually a Green Sun Zenith on the bottom. Maybe he wants to shift them to the top. But I think he liked the 3 cards just as they were.
So he makes sure to develop his mana. He has the green sun zenith here on top for the next turn. We pass back to Thomas. He is now also developing his mana so far. Nothing really ongoing. Quite nice, I guess. He could, Thomas, he could have cast the Ponder, for example, but he did not. I guess in the face of the Carpet of Flowers.
Yeah. With not fetching, you gain access to maybe get himself a surveil land at end of turn to get some future information. And we also saw the neat trick with Hedge Maze to discard the middle card in Ponder and get the card that he really wants, which was actually, once again, the Green Sun Zenith.
Let's see what Thomas decides to do now. I think this is end step from Peter's turn. And if he goes for a Surveil fetch, for example, of course this Scrubber should be tapped because of the swords. I guess he's just shortcutting.
Or he's fetching for a non-surveil land to play around Days, which... But no, it should be.
There is definitely no Days in the Bant Nadu deck.
But you can never be fearful enough.
Oh, I guess this is end of turn, and Peter Florian now responds with a Brainstorm. Why do you think that is? There's one card that I'm thinking about. It's the Orcish Bowmasters that cannot be cast now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yes, there's actually one in the hand from Thomas. So make sure that the Brainstorm can be cast.
Yeah, we have the Caracas, we played the Teferi, we bounced the Carpet of Flowers, and now we're looking rather good.
Teferi now on the battlefield from Thomas, and the Carpet back in the hand. Notably, also there is a Caracas and a Scrubland, so only one blue mana that Peter can get with this Carpet.
Yeah.
And how scary is this Delighted Halfling?
It's good, but I think we will decide how good it is after the Thoughtseize.
So
I would guess we just get information on the hand.
So we would start with the Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
And it just passes the turn. Maybe, yeah.
Draw step Thoughtseize. Yeah, it's a really, really nice thing that you can do with Uptick Teferi.
Yeah. Like that as well. We see, this is actually pretty strong and stacked hand. A little bit light on mana. So one Oro, one Teferi. Wow. Crimson Smith, Swords, and a Nadu. I could not decide right away what I should pick.
Uro, you don't take. That's for sure. But between Teferi, Green Sun Zenith, and Nadu, it's interesting.
With the Halfling, he can cast the Uro, the Teferi, and also the Nadu uncountably.
Yeah, the Uro, when it goes to the graveyard, it's kind of okay. Green Sun Zenith means he can't play something on... he can play it because you gain access to 1 mana, but Teferi is the hardest card to interact with. And currently you don't have a card that targets the Nadu, and you have a Swords to Plowshares in hand of Thomas Flutchick.
Okay.
So you are able to, basically give your opponent 1 trigger of Nadu and then get rid of it. And then you have to worry about the Green Sun Zenith.
Let's see what then Peter will decide on to cast for this turn. He will get one extra mana from the Carpet. And maybe he goes for the Uro? What do you think? Or the Nadu straight away?
It's so hard to decide. Because Uro ramps a little bit. It tries to bring you back into the game. Nadu has the most... I think Uro should be actually fine.
Yeah,
It
I'm
doesn't
thinking.
really accomplish anything, but it's
Well,
still
it digs for more lands.
yeah.
He has a stacked hand, so I'm assuming he wants to deploy as much of that as possible.
Yeah, he's still missing the other thing to really get the train going. He needs the 1-drop the Nomads on core or the 2-drop Sky the Cat Cap to get the triggers onto the Nadu.
Yeah.
So yeah, will be interesting what will be brought in. But it seems like to be Nadu, am I right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nado, and this one cannot be counted because of the delighted halfling. Strong interaction, it makes every legendary card uncounterable, and also, yeah, legendary spells, exactly.
Yeah. And then we get to have an Ponder, most likely.
And of turn, you mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Caracas is the answer to bounce the legendary cards. I mean, Florian still gets access to one trigger.
Mm-hmm. Like if the Nado gets bounced with the Caracas.
Yeah. But here we have the Swords to Plowshares.
So the position might be just a slightly better, more permanent answer.
Yeah.
Which yields one trigger, and we'll see now a Tundra enter the battlefield for Peter. And I think we now pass back to Thomas' turn, exactly. There's still one Teferi at the moment, not really contested.
Yeah, and we may see even the Halfling attacking in the near turns after providing some mana and uncounterability to just keep the Teferi off from bouncing anything. But yeah, the game plan of keeping Nado on the field currently is a little bit on hold because of the Caracas. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And right now, of course, it is anyways. The thing, anyways, exiled. And the thing is that, well, this Uro in face of Caracas also not doesn't look super potent. I mean, we get the ETPs all the time.
Yeah.
Caracas, it's not a typical edition. It's also one reason why Thomas has the Esper version as opposed to the straight up blue-black version of the deck.
Yeah, and it's such a classic in control decks. If you look back at 2016, 17,
Yeah.
or even 2012, 13, 14, in the good old Miracle days, you always played the one Caracas to answer the legendaries in the format. And currently, the one Caracas is kind of the spicy one of in the mana base.
Yeah.
But in the current meta, it's so good because it handles Tamio. It handles Nadu, at least to some extent. So it's really, really nice.
Yeah, it's a nice one to have. And we got to see actually a Bowmaster in response to the Uro, which, based on the draw trigger, also killed the Halfling.
Yeah.
And now Peter has a Green Sun Zenith on the stack.
I'm not sure if it's for 3 or for 1.
We'll see what he will find.
It's for 1.
Okay, not a Halfling.
Yeah, will be interesting. But yeah, currently Thomas having the clear advantage on the board. Also has 2 mana left lying around to draw a card with his last remaining clue. Doesn't flip the Tamio that way.
I think, Thomas slowly but surely pulls further ahead. And yeah, Tamio generating each turn, drawing 2 cards basically. And I think the hand from Thomas is also not bad either. There's only it's a lot of cantrips he can search for anything that he wants basically.
Yeah, he's triggering his Tamio now.
Yep.
What's the... Are those stock ups?
Yeah, there's 2 copies of stock up in the deck from Thomas.
And in the hand? Besides the Falsies?
Yeah, I think those. Well, one is a Tamio.
One is a Tamio.
The other one could be a stock up.
Let's see what we get. But I think that we get an upkeep Falsies.
Just as we saw it 2 turns ago. Yeah, super strong. The very uptick. There's not really a board presence.
Okay, no, we get a stock up. But we may get the land here to cast the Falsies.
He could also wait with the stock up, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't need to play it unless he wants, of course,
The land
the
drop.
land drop. Yeah, that makes sense. Instant speed stock up, however, is also not too shabby.
But it was a clear cut for the 2 cards. What he wanted. And it's the fetch land.
Yeah. He could even ending, I guess, the halfling.
Yeah.
He basically has it all covered.
Or ending the
carpet. I'm not sure.
Carpet.
I'm not sure if it does anything at this point.
But I think you want to Falsies in the draw step, am I right?
Yeah. Sounds also good, yeah. I guess this is what happens.
Yeah, and Thomas is, I think, the 3rd time already at the Austrian Legacy Masters.
No, I think the first time.
It's the first time.
It's the first time. Yeah.
I mean, we commentated over him at the European Legacy Masters then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we get the Nadu.
Yeah. There is a Nomads. This was I guess the only hope from Peter, just to generate also some counter value, let's say it. But yeah, this Falsi is just timely picking it off before he could deploy it.
Yeah,
and yeah, tough.
And for the next turn, you just wasteland, then kill the carpet. Maybe do something else. I mean, you can prismatic ending the carpet, wasteland, pick up the prismatic ending again with the Tamio and prismatic ending the halfling to clear the whole board.
Yeah, if he wants to do that. There's also one Oro in the graveyard from Peter still remaining. We might go for that. That's with the halfling is also in this case uncountable.
Yeah, but it will be bounce to hand on the next turn.
Yeah. Yeah, him the Torak is super nice. Yeah, with that. We also had the occasion to watch Thomas Ma actually with the famous Jack Pile back in the days, as was pointed out in the chat. I think he's not playing anymore, really, like Legacy at least. I would love to see an updated version of Jack Pile if it exists actually.
Yeah, it would be really, really sweet because he's such a legend with the deck. And yeah. I think we saw him in the 2022 European Legacy Masters where he played the pie to some success, I think. Nearly top 8 finish. And yeah. Let's see how this turn develops for Thomas. We see now a lot of creatures established on the side of Peter. We have a Sky the Cat Cup.
Is this on the stack or is it?
No, this is everything on the field.
Okay, yeah.
It was Oro triggering, drawing the Sky the Cat Cup, playing Sky the Cat Cup, 1 mana remaining, playing Nomads Encore.
Interestingly,
Toxic Deluge.
Okay, yeah. For 6.
X2?
4, I guess.
Or 4, yeah.
Yeah. Because he used the 2/2 Orc Army to attack first and dealing 2 damage to the Oro. Yeah. I was about to say Peter's position looks maybe a little bit better, but now...
Yeah, Toxic Deluge was a really, really good card, so you don't have to worry about loyalty with with your Tamio.
Yeah.
You don't have to down tick your Teferi once again. You now get to clean your answer, your Carpet of Flowers. You still have a Brainstorm to maybe find a Force of Will if you need it.
Yeah.
It's, I think, is it the Nomads in hand or another remove spell in hand of Peter?
I think it's the swords that we have. It cannot really point at anything.
No, swords. Typically unable to exile any planeswalkers, and yeah.
That is the handshake. So that means that Tomasz is now in the finals.
Yeah.
With this Esper mid-range / control. This time it was more of a control deck and a very, very nice and potent play, I would say, denying a lot of resources and making sure that Peter cannot really grab a grip. And I think he was basically all the time a little bit ahead and just pulled away further and further and further.
Yeah, it started up from the front with the Fortsies, with denying stuff, and then cleanly playing off of Teferi for the rest of the game. Really, really impressive performance by Tomasz. We will wish him all the best of luck in the finals against the deck.
It is the Tomasz against the Tamasz.
It's Tomasz against Tamasz on Esper versus Tron.
Yeah, that's Tron. This is actually an exciting finals, I would say. So with that being said, I think we will set up the finals for you in a couple of minutes. We give the players a little bit of break, and we will be back with the finals of the Austrian Legacy Masters in a couple of minutes. So don't go anywhere, and see you soon.